Hey guys, what's going on? CPC here. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about fall bass fishing and what I like to do to catch those elusive bass during the fall. Actually, this is one of my favorite time of the year to fish for bass because of the methods that you get to do. Um, and I illustrated a diagram today to be able to show what types of lures I would be using and what type of structure that I would be fishing in order to try to accomplish catching these fish. And so what I did was put together my whiteboard here, and I'm just going to lean this up to kind of go over. So here is kind of what we're looking at as far as how I like to break things down. These are my go-to baits during the fall. Water temperatures are sitting around 45 to 55 degrees. I'm going to be fishing 15 to 20 foot during the day. During the morning, it's going to be top water, and again in the evening we'll go back to top water. And so with that, I like to use craw colored or frog colored, or for swim baits like a shad color, like a silver or something like that. um, and in the morning I'll throw a popper or a frog just on the water surface. So if we look down here, we've got 10 foot, 20 foot, 30 foot, 40 foot, and just kind of a diagram. So we would be on our boat somewhere in this region, and we'd be casting out towards like limbs, grass, weed edges that are standing out of the water, and we'd just be dragging this popper or this frog, um, and doing short snaps and then pausing in between the throws. We'd cast it, pop, 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 let it sit, pop, 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 let it sit. That's around trees, weed edges, stuff like that. As the day moves forward, the fish are going to go from sitting up here in this 10 foot of water, and they're going to drop down a little bit, okay, into this 20-foot range or so. And that's when I'm going to switch over to a shallow to medium crankbait. And I'm going to use a red and black color, orange, or something like that. And the reason for that is that they're chasing crawfish, and you want to target areas that are real rocky, and windy days are good for this because that's when the current's going to be flowing a little bit, and it's going to be pushing up those crawfish and stuff. They're not going to be able to hold on to the rocks as well, so they'll be stirred up. And by throwing a crankbait or a rattle trap that looks like a crawfish or something, and that has a rattle in there to attract the noise, with the wind and the current kind of blowing, it's going to make things a little mucky, and you might get some muddier water. Those are really excellent conditions for throwing that crank through rocks. I like to throw it around rock dams and coves when you go back into a cove, and you've just got a rocky point that slowly transitions into just a mud flat or something like that. I'll follow that crankbait right along those rocks, and that's typically anywhere from 20 to 30 feet deep is the depth of the crank. You can catch them up higher, but typically you want to stay in those rocks in that depth range. So then next, as the day goes on and it's getting a little warmer, the bass will want to move off those, and they'll come out into the middle out here, and they'll be chasing balls of shad. And so that's when you want to switch to a small to medium swim bait, and a clear color or a shad color, which is silver, is a good go-to. You want to match the hatch. If you can see the shad and you can get an idea of what they are, those bass will sit here suspended under this water and wait for these balls, and then they'll push them up, and you'll see shad sometimes jumping on the top of the water. And so you want to follow those balls of shad and try to throw that swim bait right in the middle of them and drag it as they are trying to chase those. And hopefully, if you're matching close enough, you'll be able to have the bass mistake your swim bait for one of those shad, and then you'll be able to get some hookups. And then another thing is spinner baits. That's kind of the same concept as a swim bait, but for me, I like to throw spinner baits up into cover. So I'll go in the shallower water, 10 foot. We've got my rendition of a laid down tree or branch or something. I'll kind of get up inside those branches or close to them and drag that spinner bait through them. Hopefully not, hooking up with that and getting caught. Top water, your poppers are real good close to that kind of area, because they'll come up and they'll hide right underneath these branches, and if you're getting close, they think either something fell in the water or whatever close to that, and they'll watch it pop. And as you do these poppers and these frogs, they disperse water, and so from below they just see the splashing of the disruption of the water, and so they'll come up and they'll hit that. And that's usually good early morning or late evening, right after the sun comes up and right before the sun goes down. And so those are just a couple techniques that I like to use during this time of the year, when your water temperatures are starting to transition from summer into fall, and your sun's going down a little earlier, your water's starting to cool off a little bit, the bass are done spawning. This is the time of the year where the bass are really feeding and trying to fatten up, getting ready to go into winter. Because what's going to happen is when those cold temperatures take over, the bass metabolism is going to slow way down, and we'll talk in another video as it gets that time about what they're feeding on. But they slow down, so they're in a hunger mode where they're going around and they're trying to eat any and everything in sight. And so these are some really good attention grabbers. They're reactionary baits that when they're trying to chase as much food down as possible, throwing these the swim baits, the crank baits, and the spinner baits are all fast moving baits, and so they're gonna want to go after those. And think, like I said, if you can find a ball of shad or something like that, that's a really good time to throw those. And then morning and evening for those top waters where they think it might be a frog. It's still a little dewed over from the night before, so maybe you got a little moisture. The frogs come up out of that mud and they're just trying to get across the lake or whatever, so they will come up and they will feed on that. So if you guys have any questions, please comment below, let me know. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. You guys are the ones that I'm doing this for. I want people to be able to learn. I want people to be able to enjoy this video. Let me know what you like. Let me know what you don't like. Let me know what I could do better. I appreciate you guys watching. So again, hit the like button, comment down below, let me know what you want in your next video. Hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. That turn on your notifications, that way when I post again that you guys will be notified. I'm trying to do at least once a week. Sometimes my goal would be 2 to 3 times a week, but life gets busy and sometimes we can't make that. So Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys want. Until next time, peace.